after the Apollo missions, people stopped going to the moon or looking at the moon very closely. Now, are we picking up some real estate there?
Yeah, I don't know. If we're candid about my own American history, we didn't go to the moon because we're explorers and it's in our DNA. We went to the moon because we were scared of the Soviet Union. And if they got to the moon first, they would have the high ground. What does that mean? Does that influence our safety, our democracy? So there was a lot of geopolitics going on at the time. And then when we learned they were not going to the moon, we ended the Apollo program. Okay? It's not that we lost our drive. It's that we lost the geopolitical force that was sending us there in the first place. Right now, all of these missions are peaceful. So that's a good thing. And so a colony on the moon, I don't foresee people living there permanently, but you can have visiting scientists come and spend time, maybe set up telescopes across where the dark area is. I can imagine all kinds of science that would unfold there.
And would there
so
be
yeah, I look forward to
there?
what comes.
Maybe,
say again?
Because that's what folklore is all about. On the dark side
moon
of the
aliens.
moon.
Did you say aliens on the moon?
Yeah, dark side of the moon.
That could be fun to find aliens. That would be a new form of life. So we bring biologists with us. All right, that would be discovery. I love it. I want to meet the aliens. Bring them on.
Mr. Tyson, on a serious note, how does this really change India's position on the high table in the world? Many people even today think India is a poor country. It's a land of elephants and snake charmers all over. That's sometimes the imagery that India does draw. Today, with the Chandrayan 3 landing on the dark side of the moon, and the fact that India's Chandrayan is successful where Russia's moon mission hasn't been, does that really change the perception of India in the world today?
So the elephants and snake charmers, that's interesting. That's an aspect of what we learn about India, of course. But in modern times, there's the subset of the Indian population who have risen in the scientific and technological world that have borne their brilliance in the rest of what's going on in the world. There's no shortage of Indians in the United States who are leaders in our tech world. So I think in recent decades, no, Americans were not thinking of India as a place of snake charmers. No. Maybe 50 years ago, not today. All right. Some of our highest tech people have Indian roots. They may be American citizens, but they came from India. Okay. And they're latter day American citizens. So we know the potential of the Indian population here in the United States. That's my first point. Second is about the poverty. Yes, surely you have people there saying, why are we spending money up in space when we have such abject poverty here on Earth? That's a legitimate question to ask. But allow me to say that India had poverty before anyone spent a dime on space. Okay, so you can't look at space and say that's why you have poverty, or you shouldn't have poverty because you have space. Those are false equivalencies. What I can tell you is, if there's any hope of raising a nation out of poverty, it's investments in science and technology.
Absolutely.
Every place in the world where that has happened, the economy of that nation has risen, and the base level of who you call poor has risen. So India has a long way to go in that department, yes. But I know of no greater force than ambitions in space that can operate on the economy of a nation, because tomorrow's economies will pivot on innovations in science and technology today.
Absolutely. And just before I let you go, in the last 1 decade, do you think India has grown in stature on the global fora?
I think, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think in your borders, but India has always been a very important country in this world. The largest democracy, now the largest country in the world, passing China in population by the latest numbers that I've seen, and how deep and strong the culture is. But anyone who visits India is completely consumed by everything Indian there that was retained long after the period of colonization from England, right? And India, we finally saw India in the Olympics. Okay, that was a shot putter. Welcome to the Olympics now. So there's a lot of upside. Dare I repeat this earlier comment that the sky is not the limit for India, and it depends on how you need wise governance. And I cannot overemphasize that you want all citizens to participate in this. Because if the United States were today the way it was in the 1960s, you would not be interviewing a black person about your space program. Because I had opportunities that arose over those decades that previously I was shut off from because of laws and legislations and attitudes. So it's important that everybody participates.